On Monday, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell held his annual Super Bowl press conference. The commissioner was asked a variety of questions, including a familiar one about diversity within NFL media. Let's discuss Goodell's answer and more with a veteran journalist and former NFL media employee. That would be Jim Trotter, who joins me once again. Jim, how's it going?
Doing well, man. Thank you for having me.
Always good to talk with you, Mr. Trotter. Always good. And Jim, I want to start with this. With the changes to this year's press conference, I want to talk about that. The presser used to be on Fridays, then it got moved to Wednesday. This year it was on the Monday before the Super Bowl, and it was invitation only in terms of media. Why do you think the league moved the presser and made it an exclusive media event instead of one that's open to all who are credentialed to cover the big game?
Yeah, Dexter, I think it depends on who you talk to. If you talk to people at the league, they will tell you that this was an opportunity for them to keep the focus on the game later in the week as they got closer to the actual game. And it was an opportunity to bring in folks and address who on the national level and address things at the NFL level and whatnot. If you talk to other people, they will say this was an opportunity for the NFL to try and control the message, to limit who was allowed to ask questions, to limit who was being brought in, and to better protect the commissioner from difficult questions he might not want to answer.
Interestingly enough, those difficult questions still came about at this year's press conference. And for years, at the Commissioner's Super Bowl presser, you have asked Roger Goodell about the league's commitment to diversity beyond the sideline and front office, most specifically addressing the lack of diversity in the newsroom at the league-owned media group. You were not at the presser this year, but Kansas City-based journalist Darren Smith, he asked why there hasn't been any change in that area, and Goodell stated that he disagreed that there hasn't been any change. What did you make of the commissioner's remarks in regards to diversity within NFL media?
The commissioner was flat out wrong, just as he's been the last 2 years when I've asked him about this. You know, Dexter, it's not complicated. The facts are the facts, and here are the facts. The facts are within the NFL newsroom, there are no black managers, there are no black copy editors, and there are no full-time black employees on the news desk. And if you were to exclude the reporters, there is no full-time black employee in the newsroom. Those are facts. They're indisputable. So each year when the commissioner says that he doesn't know about the numbers or he's not sure if they're right or whatever, it's very simple to find out. One, you can either pick up the phone and call the folks at NFL Media and confirm those numbers, or you can walk through the newsroom yourself and you can see that those numbers are accurate. So it's unfortunate that he would take that stance again this year and not address this issue head on. The other thing that was disappointing for me is, and this is not something that simply the NFL does, but major corporations will do that. He was asked specifically about black people. And what he did is turn it into something broader and say that across the NFL, diversity is up. And in fact, he said that 51% of the workforce is diverse, meaning people of color or women. The question was not about people of color or women. And by the way, people of color does not refer specifically to black people. The question was about black people. And he has yet to answer that. And I would argue, if he feels comfortable with what the numbers are, then let us see the promotion and retention rate for the different demographic groups within the NFL. And my understanding is they paint a different picture from what the NFL is portraying.
And what's also interesting in terms of specifics there, Jim, is, as you said, specifically was asked about black people and specifically asked about black people within NFL media, the NFL media group, and that...
No, in the newsroom.
In the newsroom, very clear. Yes, in the newsroom.
Because this is what, Dexter, this is what they do, is they will get you on the lack of detail. And so they will say our diversity numbers are up within NFL Media Group. And that may be true. And they do have black employees in leadership positions within NFL Media, but not within the newsroom. And that's why my focus is specifically on the newsroom, because that newsroom covers a player population that is majority black. And if that player population does not have people who share similar or the same life experiences or cultural experiences or just learn lessons, then how can you say that they are adequately represented when there is no one who shares any of that at the decision-making table when they are deciding how to cover these players and who covers them?
Absolutely. And with what you said, right, with the facts here, the NFL newsroom still has zero black copy editors, zero black managers, zero full-time employees. Do you believe with other black journalists continuing to ask the questions that you started asking about NFL media in the newsroom that we will actually see change in terms of diversity in the NFL newsroom?
I do. I believe at some point that change will come. It has to. And I applaud Darren Smith for asking the question because it appeared for a time, as has been told to me, that no one was going to follow up on that question and the commissioner was going to be able to avoid it he was going to be able to avoid it this year. So I applaud Darren Smith for taking on the challenge and the responsibility of trying to hold the commissioner and the NFL accountable to make sure that their actions reflect their words. But I do believe change could come. I do believe change at some point will come because I believe it has to. You can't keep telling people that you stand on the pillars of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and yet have no black representation in that newsroom and decision-making positions.
The numbers are the numbers, the facts are the facts, and those are not disputable there. That is Jim Trotter, veteran journalist, former journalist for NFL Media Group. Jim, always a pleasure to talk with you on this issue, and I'm glad others are continuing to ask the questions. Thank you, my friend, and happy Black History Month.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me, and same to you.